You can't reject it because it just isn't an alternative, because Rowan would get so sick if we didn't let all this into our life.
Cystic fibrosis nowadays is almost what you would call an invisible illness. If people don't know the children have got it, they would never suspect that there was anything wrong.
When your child's born with it, you live with it every day. And it's only when you do something like this that it actually brings it to the fore. To think that a charity or other people are thinking about the parents as well as the children, I think is really special.
Formed in 2009 in memory of Leanne Mitchell, the Leanne Fund has become one of the foremost cystic fibrosis charities in Scotland. Recognising the daily challenges of life with CF, the Leanne Fund provide a range of support services for patients and families, enabling them to fulfil their ambitions and aspirations through the funding of unforgettable, life-affirming experiences. When people look at me, they don't automatically think Ashley's got cystic fibrosis, because it is a hidden thing. You can't see it unless you have told them. It takes a lot of work behind the scenes to keep well. Obviously maintaining fitness is a big thing, because that's a really good way of clearing my lungs. I take Creon, usually about 15 a day. Obviously it varies depending on what I eat. Perfect, so in the morning, this is my routine. I'll get up, take my morning tablets. I'll then go on to do my physiotherapy, which is a nebuliser. So this helps to clear my lungs in the morning, open my airways a wee bit.
Patients are born with a genetic defect. So if you imagine like a missing code in the body's functioning. And with that, what that results in is changes in secretions within the lungs and within the digestive system, but also throughout the body. Within the lungs, it causes thick, sticky secretions that bacteria stick to and can cause lots of infections. So patients every day have to do a range of therapies, including physiotherapy, medications and antibiotics and inhalers, and in some cases nebulisers. Within the digestive system, what that results in is that they don't produce the enzymes that digest the fat in foods. So that means that they have to take medicine to help them digest their foods. Yeah, which means they have to work harder every time they eat a meal. Yeah. So the other thing about cystic fibrosis is that it's a condition that affects somebody every day of their lives. It's not something that one day it will get better. So it's something that patients and families have to work at every day without a day off.
You say this is all your medicine that you have to take every day.
I don't understand.
Why?
Because I don't.
Right, this is all the medicine that you have to take every day. This is Ariane's physio. This is really important. This is the most important probably bit. So if you do one set.
I'm not going to do set, I'll just show them what I do.
We'll do 2 breaths then, please.
Yeah. My favourite one.
This is one. We never argue about this one, do we?
No.
No.
Never.
Just every day?
Sometimes a really tight chest. Sometimes I have a really blocked bowel. Sometimes I have a really sore stomach. Sometimes my throat closes up and like my airways close up, and that's really it. Holy thumb!
I think cystic fibrosis in your children has different age ranges. So when they're babies to when they're toddlers to when they're teenagers, which ours is now, there's different degrees of physiotherapy, drugs, worry, and the way you communicate with your child as well. Once Ariane started to be able to speak, I could start communicating with her about what cystic fibrosis was and why things were getting done, but she didn't really understand anything until maybe just a few years ago. it took a long time for her to realise that people were trying to help her. And I think the difference between the baby and the toddler stage to now is that Ariane can reason, and she asks why a lot, and she's got a right to ask why, but trying to explain why is actually incredibly difficult as a parent, and trying to explain why she needs to take a medication, which to me as a parent, it takes her 5 minutes to take it, but to Ariane it's a huge part of her life.
A rigorous daily routine of physio, medication, exercise and nutrition can have a profound and exhausting effect on family life.
Another big help.
The Leanne Fund aims to enable families to enjoy quality time together without the financial pressures such opportunities would normally bring.
Du vraag je schon rotas kutter mag je schon rotas korna dag maar kaltin kan skavan hat femia IV antibiotics en jelle agus schon af aglagion nervous physio son skavan kan al clear ha ach rotan elvis chin gosh CF ha tu stomach to digestion ha deligitus leshant sen jelle heavy pancreas a gobat so schon kiol gefema vi gol pancreatic enzymes on prisachsias fatna na gich agus gat agol na enzymes femia vi gich torvarach na bad helen nu checkes a dulika kuje me gedet ha dulika gullepat ma de magapiag.
You were asking about learning the IVs, weren't you? Yeah, it's quite a daunting thought to think about learning sterile procedures and working with needles and stuff. It's not really what you want to do with your kid, but yeah, we've been in hospital maybe about 5 or 6, maybe more times now, so I realised that if I don't learn how to do it, it's going to mean we're going to have to stay in hospital for longer. He's missed things at school. I was aware of that. We went into his open day at the school yesterday and they were talking about things that they'd done in his absence, and I thought that's just how it is. He's going to miss things that at school because his health has to be a priority. How else has it impacted? I gave up work to allow myself to just concentrate on him. Even things like going out and doing more activities with him. It just freed my time up a bit more to focus on him. But obviously there's a financial impact there, and the Leanne Fund's been fantastic at supporting us in that way. They obviously really understand the impact of CF on family life, and they're able to provide financial support at times when you really need it.
The importance of daily exercise to CF patients is encouraged by the Leanne Fund through the funding of sport equipment and activities which reinforce their physiotherapy and enrich their life.
It's important because it helps your body, it keeps you alive, and it keeps cystic fibrosis with people alive as well. Next week I have to go to an exercise thing in Reichenmoor Hospital, and they're taking blood out of my arm. Every time they put a cannula in my arm, I have to go back and they have to take blood out of my vein so to make sure everything's clear. I don't like getting the cannula in my arm. I have to be asleep for 20 seconds. Yeah, I know my way around Reichenmoor. But first off, you've got to wash your hands before you get in there, because you might have things that the doctors might not want you to have on.
I've got 2 children with CF, Liam's 11 and Ayla, who's almost 10 months. Liam's my second child and Ayla's my 4th, so the other 2 don't have CF. So first thing in the morning, this is what Liam will do. He'll do his PET mask, which is positive expiratory pressure. So he holds this over his face and the air goes in there when he breathes in and he forces it out the smaller hole, and the pressure that is created by forcing out the smaller hole brings up any mucus that's in his lungs. To begin with, it does take a lot of adjusting to. When we had one child before, Liam without CF, so obviously we were used to a routine without any kind of medication. So when we first had Liam, it did take a lot of adjusting to having antibiotics all the time, because that seems kind of wrong almost, giving a child antibiotics daily. But it very quickly becomes normality. This is Ayla's pet mask, which you can see is obviously the baby size, and she's still getting accustomed to using it, and she doesn't like it very much and gets a little bit upset by it. So it's the same kind of thing, and instead of the huffing, we do manual huffs, so we have to try and press her chest in as she breathes out to make a little huff in her throat. She also takes digestive enzymes, but obviously she can't swallow them in a tablet form, so she has them in granule. So since she was diagnosed at a week old, this is how she's been taking them. So I'll give her this with this yogurt just now. You gonna have this, Ayla? Oh, good girl. You've got to be careful not to leave any of the granules in her mouth, because they can burn her skin. We just want them to live a full and happy life and get on with things exactly the way as any of their friends would do. Although they have a few extra things they have to do, we just want them to be as normal and active as they can be.
I only have to go to Inverness once a year, and I just get my blood took and just do some running and get a chest x-ray, and sometimes I'll ultrasound, and that's it.
Physiotherapy is extremely important for people with cystic fibrosis, primarily because of the gathering of secretions in their lungs. Then it's teaching them how to daily clear the secretions from their lungs. But the other very important thing is encouraging them to be extremely active, because being active and keeping their bodies in good tip-top health really enhances their whole system.
Since 2009, the Leanne Fund and their supporters have grown into an ever-expanding community, raising funds and increasing awareness of cystic fibrosis locally and nationally.
Do you still have memories of many parts between Paris and Tunis? And it's memories of maybe sore feet and tiredness, particular points of the journey you still remember how you felt? One regret that I have about our walk, what we didn't do when we were doing all our training, is that we didn't record in any shape or form our lovely stories. You know, we got a lot out of it ourselves, the companionship, the fun. Yes. And all the other folks that became involved with us, who came for parts of the walk with us. That was wonderful.
It was amazing. You know, a real privilege, I would say.
Lots of people said that to us, that it really kind of inspired them to walk.
Yes, and it also raised awareness for the Leanne Fund and of what it did, and especially throughout the whole of the island and the Highlands.
And wider than that. We had a lot of followings from all over the country, didn't we?
It's amazing.
And Leanne herself would have been dead chuffed about it. Yes, she would have loved it.
Yes,
so it would have been a great.
And it's given us a real close bond that we will never ever lose.
I never knew any of these people before this.
And you're glad? Aren't you glad you do now?
We don't actually speak anyway.
After Leanne died, I really felt like I wanted to do something that would be a good tribute to her memory, and also a way to raise a lot of funds, and that's why I chose to do Kilimanjaro.
The legacy of Leanne has inspired thousands to rise to challenges never imagined, with a determination to make a difference today.
Scarp, and then back to Hushnish. I swam over to Tarnsey, like the St Kilda swim, and I've swum the Sound of Barra and the Sound of Harris, specifically for the Leanne Fund. What they do is, it's amazing for kids and families with cystic fibrosis.
Helped put money towards my driving lessons, which was really helpful. Gets me back to work every day. It's a bit of independence. I can kind of go wherever I want, whenever I want, which is great. Thereafter, I've got money for holidays. I've just recently come back from the Dominican Republic, and the Leanne Fund very kindly gave me some money towards that, which we used to go and swim with the dolphins, which was just a really good experience, which I'd recommend to anybody.
There's lots of fundraising that goes on for CF, and a lot of it's towards new breakthroughs in trials and new medications, and that's we obviously want a cure. That's what we want, but to have something that just gives us something for fun and to make things easier for us, it's really nice.
The best thing I've had from the Leanne Fund is my Xbox, and that was a surprise. And my favourite game on that's FIFA, and I like playing against my friends on it.
No bydd Leanne Fund y Gianni mi ar ffalio ha nefas cwtioch y chort gwyniaeth gadroigen. Biad rwyd yn man yn y vision of alaf pa I some treat gas and some la macht so dan chance a dat cwtioch y like yn syr a da cwtioch y legadas and had the trampoline hort gas had the parks on gymnastic zeker had ver Gianni nefas cwtioch y clownless EF fe môr had the tor han nefas nefas tachar tu medicine gaif. Agus so ha mach gel ro down hat dort gaif anel grwy heger in a treatments no cars ha gel hat dort cordum gaif ro den ianu.
Cystic fibrosis is when your child's born with it, you live with it every day. And ever since we've been involved with the Leanne Fund, what I find the difference with the charity is that they look after the parents as well as the children, which is amazing. Ariane has got a laptop, and I think she's had a couple of trampolines, and again, things like family outings. But as parents, we've had complementary therapy and things to reduce stress, which is just really well received and appreciated. And again, to think that a charity or other people are thinking about the parents as well as the children, I think is really special as well.
You can choose what you want and they help give it to you. So every year I always ask my mum and dad if they can get the pantomime, because that's my favourite thing to do, to go to a pantomime with them. I raise money by every second week of school. I bake cupcakes and Victoria sponges and everything and give them to the staff at the school, and they put in a donation in the Leanne Fund box, and we give the money to my nurse Leslie, and she gives it to the Leanne Fund.
If you, a family member or friend, has been affected by CF, or you would like to join the growing number of supporters fundraising for CF patients and families, please contact us on theleannefund.co.uk or facebook.com/The Leanne Fund.